Whoa, yeet. Whoa, whoa. Hey, hey, hey. Whoa. Ha. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. It's a macro Saturday. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. Hey. Hey. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. It's a macro Saturday. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. Happy to see you guys in here. It's the trade room, y'all. We got charts today. We go macro. We thinking big picture. Let's go now. Let's go now. Let's go now. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. This is about to be fun. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. It's a macro Saturday. It's a macro Saturday. We got things to talk about. It's a macro Saturday. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. It's a macro Saturday. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. Listen, like, subscribe, put your alerts on. I'm happy to see y'all here today. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. It's a macro Saturday. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. Hey, welcome to the trade room, y'all. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. It's a macro Saturday. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. We're gonna get started soon, guys. Love you guys for showing up. Make sure to like. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to share with a friend. It's time to get litty. See you soon. What's up? What is up? What is up, trade room? It is a macro Saturday as usual. And like always, doing a mic check, holla out. Let me know if you can hear me. I know it is the holidays. Everybody's out and about doing their late night shopping, hanging out with the family, Christmas lights, Christmas songs. Let me double check and make sure my audio is good to go. So, look, tonight, nothing special. We just hanging out, right? We're just hanging out. We're gonna talk a little bit. We're gonna talk a little bit of a lot of bit about a few things. So let me prerequisite this stream. Obviously, you guys saw the intro. You saw the follow-up intro of the promotion to this stream, and it is about just having a chat, painting a picture, right? Understanding the cryptocurrency market in itself. Yes, most of my viewers are DeFi Kingdoms players or GameFi individuals. But again, this is a macro channel, so we always focus on the broader picture and then start to dive into the macro sense, some of these short term things that we may be looking at. So, if you've made it here, make sure to put a thumbs up, make sure to like, make sure to share this. I'm not going to lie, I woke up frantically, frantically because I was taking a nap. You know, it's a Christmas weekend. I went out. I had a fabulous lunch. Had a fabulous wine. Came home and said, "Oh, let me put my head down." And next thing you know, you wake up 20 minutes till stream. Got a little tough. So again, we're hanging out here. Let's talk about what we are conversing on today. And you guys know we always start with the market conditions, Bitcoin, or the highlight for this stream at least. We're going to talk about Bitcoin, XRP, Injective, and Sol. Okay. Injective and Sol has been moving really aggressively. Sol for the last month and a half. Injective, literally the last couple of weeks, Injective has been moving like crazy. So we'll take a look at that. But XRP, we're going to take a look at more specifically for this because we have some Twitter beef, or I'll say fake Twitter beef, that we're going to talk about today. But again, aside from the market conditions and the charts that we look at, we're going to paint a picture. We're going to do some storytelling. And I love storytelling, right? Because it's important to understand this market and how we came about this market, right? So cycles within cycles. What do we mean by that? And how does understanding the cycles within cycles help benefit uh you when you're looking into the market, right? Macro versus micro. I mean, if you see anything on this channel, we're macro. All right. But there's a process to this, right? You can go mega. Shout out to the jewelers who actually come on right after me, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Make sure to tune in to them. I think Dags is on today. I'm not sure if Mega's on. But shout out to the Jewelers Guild Crypto. But you have mega, you have macro, you have micro. All right. So in the trade room, we always look macro. Today, we're definitely gonna look mega. Right. We're gonna look mega, macro, and then micro. And when you talk about the economic hardening theory, yes, the economic hardening theory is a theory that we have placed adjacent to the DeFi Kingdoms ecosystem, but the economic hardening theory expands to things outside of the DeFi Kingdoms ecosystem, and that metric can be used for a bunch of other things in crypto, as we're going to talk about Injective and Solana, but also too XRP, right? Twitter beef, right? Which is really like X beef. Which is really like X beef, right? So I need to adjust this and put Twitter dash X beef, right? We're gonna save this here. Twitter dash X beef, right? Now I'm just playing, I had 12 hours of sleep for the first time ever on Saturday. Or yeah, I had 12 hours. Yeah, I had 12 hours of sleep for the first time Friday going into Saturday. So I woke up this morning and I had time. And I had time to engage in some conversation on Twitter. So we'll talk about the Twitter beef and what that means to today's stream, because we're talking about the macro, the history of the cryptocurrency market, things of that nature. We're always going to look at my picks, right? What are the trade room's top picks? What are we looking at? And today we're going to continue that conversation about bloaters. That brings us into Sarandale 2.0. And overall, the trades strategy with Sarandale 2.0. And so I'm just gonna explain a little bit, right? What my top picks are, and then what my angle is with Sarandale 2.0, and then we'll take any request from the chat as well. And that's gonna finish our stream, right? Remember, like today, we're before we even jump into the charts, we're gonna do some storytelling, and within that storytelling, that's gonna allow us to jump into the charts that we're gonna be looking at, right? And that all starts with the history of the cryptocurrency market. And so let me put a little bit of a dash here. Shout out to Red Room Media. Let's holla at the chat room really quickly. Red Room Media says, "What's good, Trey? What's good, Red Room Media?" I mean, look, this is this is a Saturday right before Christmas, right? So don't expect a lot of people hopping in here, but if you are hopping in, Christmas is full of stories. Okay, Christmas is full of stories. One of my favorite stories in this Christmas period is the Grinch, how the Grinch stole Christmas. Uh, a lot of history with that coming from where I came from, but I like it, right? So we're gonna tell some stories, and the Grinch had beef, so we got a little bit of beef, all right, a little bit of Twitter/X beef today. Red Room Media, we're gonna talk about that, right? We're gonna talk about that. Um, we're going to talk about what that beef is and how that applies to what? To understanding the crypto market, right? So, yes, we normally hop into our charts. We're going to take a quick look at Jewel, right? Just because, if we're gonna do some storytelling, I know that it's people like to talk about price, so we're gonna talk a little bit about what's going on here, right? Right now I am sharing the Jewel chart, and so we're not diving into a whole bunch now, but just a quick look at the Jewel chart. Red Room Media here says watching the ball game at the same time. That's some beautiful multitasking there. I'm gonna be watching the game too, especially the Bills game, right? Has some playoffs indications there, but we're looking at Jewel. We're doing a quick look at Jewel before we dive into everything else. And we spoke about a cup and handle, that we've been looking at with the Jewel price action. We've spoken a lot about the history of Jewel, the resistance levels at 75 and how there was a rejection from there. We spoke about the cup here that's forming, but also too the handle that's falling. Currently, Jewel sits at around 39.38 cents. The fact that the handle has already gone as low as 30.29 cents and can continue to fall near that 29 cents, could even go as low as 25 cents. But all in all, that is healthy because it can formulate this handle that we have here. And it really won't be super smooth. Because if you look at it, this is what I had drawn out here in terms of what this could look like for Jewel to form this handle here, for us to complete this possible cup and handle. So in Jewel, that's just what we've been watching. I just wanted to tap into the charts really quickly, before we move on to everything else. And so again, tonight we're storytelling. Okay, I think for the trade room, it's important for me to give a little bit of my logic and my thought process and what I look at, right? And that starts with Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin was created, all right, quote unquote, the story behind that by Satoshi Nakamoto in the midst of the financial crisis, the 2008 leading into 2009 financial crisis. So when we shrink down Bitcoin here, you have the price history that gives me August of 2011. Oh, I'm not sharing the screen, right? Oh my goodness. Let me let me go share my screen. Look, I took a nap that lasted way too long. I took a nap that lasted way too long, but we're always gonna bring you content here. We're always gonna jump in when we can. I had to get permission uh, from my wife to to do a pre-Christmas stream here on Saturday. But okay, so we are storytelling the history of crypto. We see here, at least on the charts, August of 2011 here, that Bitcoin's price action was tracked by the charts. If we take a look at that entire history from the lows, uh, Bitcoin went as high, okay, as a 300. Is that what am I looking at this right? Let's go 1, 2, 3 decibel, 1, 2, 3 decibel. Bitcoin since its inception is up 3 million%. Okay, 3 million%. Where does that come from? It went up as high as 3 million%, right? And it's had certain corrections, i.e., throughout its cycle. And we're going to talk about cycles within cycles. It's gone down as low as 90, 95, 87% corrections. And even with the major corrections that have happened with Bitcoin, let's say after the 2020 2021 bull market, to the bottom, Bitcoin was still up about 600,000 percent. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 700,000%. And where we sit at in the current stages, Bitcoin is up about a million, 2 million%, right? So why is this? What's happening with Bitcoin? Why has it risen like this? A lot of factors go into it. A lot of factors go into it. And shout out to Red Room Media for hanging out today. He says, "Yeah, my nap was a killer too. Ah, man, that nap was crazy. I've actually been sleeping for the last 2 days. I literally and shout out to King James. Yeah, it was a good nap, right? I've literally been sleeping the last 2 days, and I even forgot to tell a couple of my best friends happy birthday because I just been in literal hibernation, and then I just wake up in panic and go do whatever I have to do. But it's been a long year. It's been a very long year. So I think my body's kind of shutting down, telling me, hey, you need rest. You need ample rest. So within those times, we are going to listen. So uh oh yeah, thanks. We have King James saying love the shirt. Yeah, this shirt is Savage Roots. And it comes from one of my businesses called Savage Roots. So good eyesight on that. Shout out to Sticks Intern. Like I said, you guys could be doing a lot of other things this morning. But you're hanging out, you're coming in, whether you pop in and pop out, make sure you put your thumbs up, make sure to put your alerts on. So we started off and we dove a little bit into the market conditions. We looked at Jewel, we're still formulating that cup and handle. It's not a definite, but um what do you say? What does Jim say? He says, got you on the big screen. Shout out, shout out. So yeah, we dove into Jewel a little bit. We're gonna dive into more of the charts, but I think that this end of the year, we need to look and think about the macro picture because this is a macro channel. If you don't like a macro thought process, this might not be the room for you. And then after we look macro, we can dive into the micro. But even as the year is ending, we are going to look at the mega, right? You have mega, you have macro, you have micro. We're going to look at the mega and the history of the cryptocurrency space and maybe why the trade room looks at certain things the way we do. And so we had to start with the history of crypto. And that all starts with the 2009 financial crisis, but also to the history of the Great Recession. Um, and the Great Recession of 2008 to 2009 was the worst economic downturn in the US since the Great Depression. Domestic product declined 4.3%. The unemployment rate doubled to more than 10%. Home prices fell roughly 30%. And at its worst point, the S&P 500 was down 57% from its highs. And so this was a very tumultuous time in the markets, in the world, because with the over leveraging that was done and the fake economic hardening, right? There was the opposite of economic hardening happening at that time with the mortgage backed loans and just abuse of this credit system that we have. And out of that, out of that was birthed Bitcoin. Okay. And in times of trouble, if there are solutions or even thought processes that are different from the overall gist of what's happening, you're going to have humans look at other resources. And so this is what was happening around the time Bitcoin was birthed. Bitcoin wasn't birthed in some, oh my gosh, everything is great time period. Bitcoin was birthed in a very tumultuous time period. And even if we look at recent day, right after C19, we did technically have a recession where the US GDP, gross domestic product, was negative for or went down for 2 quarters in a row. So, yeah, we were in a bit of a soft recession. And as we go into the new year, we'll talk more about the implications of what's happening in the overall US markets and how that affects the cryptocurrency ecosystem, but also the Jewel DeFi Kingdoms ecosystem as well. So, how was Bitcoin started? We already went over this, right? Bitcoin was first launched in January of 2009, financial crisis, by Satoshi Nakamoto, right? It's a computer programming, or it was done by a computer programmer or a group of individuals, which I have another theory behind that the FBI definitely knows who Satoshi Nakamoto is. Not only that, the FBI probably knows it was more than one person. It was like 3 or 4 people. There are videos out there of FBI agents talking about going to see Satoshi Nakamoto and realizing it was a couple people. But when Bitcoin was created, it was done using the blockchain system, right? That's the backbone of the cryptocurrency market. And a blockchain is a digital ledger for transactions that is replicated and distributed across a network of computer systems to secure information. So when Bitcoin first launched, it was kind of a security. It was launched from one place, and as transactions went peer to peer from computer to computer, it became more and more decentralized. And the mechanism behind it is the whole block mechanism, where a block is a group of Bitcoin transactions over a certain period of time. The transactions are verified by miners who reward who are rewarded for verifying transactions with newly created Bitcoin. Again, we're storytelling. The Grinch is one of my favorite stories, or at least my favorite Christmas story. And so this is the mechanism behind Bitcoin where miners are solving equations to be rewarded for the transactions that get processed. It's a part of what makes Bitcoin pretty slow because it doesn't matter. There will be no changes. It's a block by block mechanism, right? And the transactions can tend to be slow when there's high traffic within the Bitcoin blockchain, and we see that in Solana. We see that in even AVAX, where it definitely see it in Ethereum, where if there's a high volume of transactions, you get higher gas fees. So the block hash is an important one to mention. And the block hash, mining activities incorporate a record keeping service that keeps the blockchain consistent, complete, and unaltered. The hashes validate available Bitcoin and serve as a means of uniformity rewarding the miners. And so the block hash is important to highlight because every 4 years there is a mechanism within Bitcoin that slashes the hash rate in half, the ability to create uh, new Bitcoin, the ability for the miners to fight to fight to complete these transactions gets cut in half. And so we'll talk more, about the Bitcoin halving and what that means to the overall cryptocurrency ecosystem. And when we talk about cycles within cycles, we'll talk about what that means not only within Bitcoin, the cryptocurrency space, but also too what it means for the DeFi kingdom space. And so I hope that gave a little bit of info on the hash and why that hash rate being cut in half is going to be very important when we talk about the coming Bitcoin having in April of 2024. And so, hey, one of the things that we spoke about was Bitcoin coming out during the great financial crisis, and Bitcoin being a alternative opportunity for people to place their money, place their wealth somewhere else. But one of Bitcoin's primary use cases was supposed to be payments. Okay. Literally, Satoshi Nakamoto, or the three or four people that created Bitcoin, one of the primary use cases for Bitcoin was supposed to be payments. Keep this in mind because to this day, Bitcoin that is no longer the use case. Bitcoin is not for payments, has not been used for payments, and based upon how the technology works right now, probably can never be used for payments. Just because of how slow it is, because of how long it takes to transfer, and because it's not cheap. It's very expensive to move Bitcoin around. So just keep in mind, one of Bitcoin's primary use cases is supposed to be payments. And so we can look at a lot more things about Bitcoin, but really and truly, just with the history of crypto, Bitcoin kicked off during the 2008, 2009 financial crisis. Humans started to see that they can keep their ledgers in other places, not just the bank, not just in houses, not just in gold, not just in the stock market, but now you have this other ecosystem that you can choose to keep your ledger in. And it doesn't mean don't keep your assets on other ledgers like the bank ledgers, or houses. It just meant, oh, okay, if I'm splitting my assets up, maybe 1/5 or 3/10 of my assets can sit on this ledger, so that I am protected as someone who is in a financial ecosystem that can just go to crap because of bad because of bad mishandling of, if not the government, if not a company, if not anything else, I can keep my assets on another ledger and diversify my risk. And so you saw Bitcoin adoption um go up from there, right? And again, Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency, a virtual currency designed to act as money and a form of payment outside of the control of any one person, group, entity, and thus removing the need for third party involvement in financial transactions. So, not only is Bitcoin a cryptocurrency, not only does it remove the need for third party involvement, but it also removes counterparty risk, right? And the best way to understand counterparty risk is when you put your money in a bank, that counterparty is the bank itself, right? And the bank has counterparty risk with the clearing houses that it uses, the ACH systems that it uses. It has counterparty risk with other banks, right? And so, yeah, seeing some of the bank failures that we've seen recently is kind of a proponent to what Bitcoin is supposed to solve, right? But also to payments. Bitcoin is supposed to solve payments, and we'll talk more about how it's not doing that at the current state, right? So that's a little bit of a history on Bitcoin. Why is this important? It's important to understand how Bitcoin started, so that now, or how the history of the cryptocurrency market, what the cryptocurrency market relates to, which right now the cryptocurrency market relates to other markets like the forex markets, right? The currency markets. It relates to the stock market, which is the equities market. Stock market has been active for over 260, 270 years. And so there's a bit of similarity when it comes to those, but then there's a separation of what the technology is able to do, right? So yeah, Red Room Media, one of the big parts of what crypto or Bitcoin was supposed to solve was counterparty risk. That's why a lot of times in crypto, you have your keys, you have your private keys, you have your seed phrases. It's in your hands. There is no other counterparty risk other than yourself. So if you lose your keys, that's a little bit on you, right? That is a little bit on you. So, let's finish off the history of crypto here, and let's talk about XRP. Now, why am I bringing XRP into this conversation about the overall history of the cryptocurrency market? Well, like I said, I got 12 hours of sleep today, and there's a little bit of an X beef that started. So before we dive into the or we continue to talk about the history of crypto and we talk about XRP, and again, I always go macro in order to get micro. So we're gonna end up talking about DeFi kingdoms and DeFi kingdom space and all the great things that are going on. And but again, we have to understand macro, at least how the trade room looks at things in order to be able to then get granular in the inferences and the projections that we have overall for the DeFi Kingdoms ecosystem. So let me see if I can pull this up here. We're going to share this tab here. And so, I wake up, I'm feeling good. We're having a good morning. Mr. Huber is somebody that I follow a lot when it comes to XRP, right? So this morning, he says, he puts up a little bit of a meme that says, in need of good performing assets, right? XRP holders, right? And this was funny to me this morning because a lot of times people are like, oh, XRP sucks. It doesn't move. It does nothing. We see Solana running. We see Jewel running. We see Injective running. XRP never does anything. But you know, if you're not itching, all right, if you're not super itching for uh returns and you have an understanding of time horizon, how long you're looking to be in something for something to pan out, you're sitting there twiddling your fingers like I am not worried at all, right? And so let's go through this, and this is gonna make sense, I hope, as to why I'm highlighting XRP. Um, because it's important to understand what you have, how long you're sitting in it, and everything else. And so there was a little bit of a back and forth happening with Mr. Huber and some other individuals, but I just came in because someone made a statement about opportunity costs and say, hey, well, if you're sitting in XRP and everything else is running, you're you're missing out on opportunity costs. And what is opportunity cost? Opportunity cost is the potential benefits that an individual investor or business misses out on when choosing one alternative over another. And opportunity cost is a real thing, right? If you're sitting on, let's say, oranges and you're trying to sell those oranges and no one's buying those oranges and the oranges are the only thing you have, then and somebody else is selling bananas and the bananas are flying off the shelf, right? So the person that buys 30 bananas that cost them, let's say, $30, that then decides to sell it for $2, if he has more customers, uh, he's gonna make 100% profit every 30th banana. And you're sitting there with your 30 oranges, and nobody's buying your, that's an opportunity cost. Now, I came in and commented and said, hey, opportunity cost applies when you're only holding one asset opposed to another. Time horizon is the variable. If you're itching for up only, don't invest in XRP. And what is time horizon? Time horizon describes the amount of time that passes before people need to access the money that's tied up in their investments. Understanding your time horizon is one of the critical factors that determines how you invest your money in the first place. And so the picture that I was trying to paint with this statement was, hey, yes, opportunity cost is a thing. If you're sitting in Solana right now, if you're sitting in Injective right now, hey, you've been sitting in Jewel for the last 4 to 2 months, you have had a better opportunity cost metric than someone sitting in XRP. Matter of fact, if you've been sitting in almost anything through the last bull market, XRP did not really run like that during the last bull market. You have had a better opportunity cost, but that is only if you're holding one thing opposed to another. But if you're holding XRP and your time horizon, the time you're looking at is 15 to 30 years, but you're also holding Jewel, but you're also holding Cardano, but you're also holding AVAX, you don't need to worry about your XRP, what it's doing, and missing out on opportunity costs because you have other things that are set and prepared to take advantage of opportunity costs. And then you don't get that FOMO, you don't get that hate. And so from there, I have my guy, Ratush, come and say XRP is trash. So, again, I've been in XRP for a while. We get a lot of this banter, right? And very similar to Jewel, for the last 2 years, there's been a lot of shit talking about Jewel. Hey, Jewel's going to zero. Hey, the GameFi is going to zero. Crypto's going to zero. Jewel is a rug. Literally, this people were saying this for the last 2 years, and you get one 700% move from Jewel. And people are, this is not one of the greatest games, in all of crypto, right? People, top influencers had their charts, or not even their charts. They had their, oh, this is my grading. Grade A, these 4 blockchain games. Grade B, these 4 blockchain games. Grade C, these 4 to 10 blockchain games. And then grade D, they had Jewel graded D. They had Jewel graded D in the entire cryptocurrency GameFi space. Jewel makes 700% move. We're seeing a lot of B's and A's now. We're seeing a lot of influencers come in and say, "Oh, this is amazing price action. This is gonna blow." Right? While within the 700% move, them talking about, "Oh, I'm buying Jewel now. Oh, if you're gonna miss out, you're gonna miss out. You're gonna miss out." Egging people into buying Jewel after 700% run at 60, 70 cents. That's when people come in and say, "Oh, yeah, this thing is great." Right? And so, yeah, okay, XRP is trash. I've seen that before. Where have I seen that? In a DeFi Kingdoms Eco. Jewel's trash. Jewel's nothing. Jewel's going to zero. So I simply said, define trash. That's all I said. And then Ratsua says, XRP, ADA, Hex, PLS, meme coins, LTC, BCH, BSV. I can keep going if you want. And then I'm like, you still haven't defined what you mean by trash. You're just naming coins that don't relate to each other in any fashion. How dare you put XRP and ADA next to Hex and PLS? Are you serious? How dare you put XRP and ADA next to meme coins? How dare you do that? They have nothing to relate to each other. Now, if you're buying meme coins, I got no problem with that. I see some people in the DeFi Kingdoms ecosystem buying meme coins. That's cool. I don't want any parts to do with that. Hex and PLS were scam coins by Richard Hart. Has nothing to do with ADA and XRP. Absolutely nothing to do with them. So I was like, okay, well, I could just ignore you, or I got 12 hours of sleep. I got time. So he says, look, man, they're all trash coins. No one, no use case, never going to be adopted, just designed to keep the founders rich. They all have the same pattern. There's a reason why XRP hasn't been adopted by major players. It's because they're making their own things. What is their own things? So believe what you want. I can tell you what you think things are and what things actually are. Two different things. I don't know what things are. I don't speak in definitive terms. Whenever I speak about something, it's okay, well, this is what we're looking at. This is where it's been. This is where it's now. And this is where we can kind of infer, kind of think that it's going. And we base some of these thought processes on probability, fundamental analysis, technical analysis, and experience. That's where the trade room comes from. We never speak in definitive terms. So for him to come on Twitter bright in the morning and speak in such definitive terms, I got 12 hours of sleep. I got time. So I said, it's not about belief for me. It's cold, hard facts. I will be addressing your unfounded statements in a long, drawn-out stream tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. You're also invited to come on live to have extended discourse. I doubt you'll take that invitation. Look, that invitation is still there. Okay? That invitation is still there. You can come on, we can chat, we can have a long, drawn out conversation. But before I went on my date, because I had a date, I just hit him with a quick little splash, right, of my thought process. So I said, your lack of knowledge is incredible. The XRP ledger is being used by developers across the world to create real world solution. Check GitHub. All right, GitHub. If you are in, if you're in a space and you're a developer, if you're trying to find out more about the technology, even if certain cryptocurrency ecosystems or blockchain companies are looking for employees, a lot of the ways to get through there is GitHub, right? Show what you've done on GitHub, your coding, your developments. GitHub is a great place to go. And when you go on GitHub, you literally see developers working on the XRP ledger. This is not make believe. You can literally go on it and see. The volume on a blockchain ranges from 800 million to 3 to 6 billion. That's real volume. No one's using it. What? All right. Entire countries are developing domestic financial rails using the technology. Check Palau USD project backed by the XRP ledger. And XRP is the only cryptocurrency in the United States of the Americas that has any legal clarity. Check SEC versus Ripple Labs. So, so I'm just like, okay, I'm willing to bring facts to the table. I'm willing to have a conversation, right? We look at XRP really quick and the tokenomics. Yeah, the total supply is 100 billion, which well, max supply is 100 billion. Total supply right now is about 99 billion. And that's been going down slowly. Why? Because just like in a Jewel ecosystem, when you use XRP for transactions, a small fee of it gets burned. And so it's deflationary. That's what, let's start off with there. The circulating supply is about half of the current supply. The trading volume right now is 700 million and ranges from 6 to 800 million to billions, right? I don't know what this guy is talking about. First of all, from its inception, it is still up 22, 23,000% from its inception. This chart that we're looking at doesn't show a declining asset. It actually shows a ascending asset, which is due for another major spike. It shows the all-time high at $3.40, still being 81% away. And so that's the tokenomics end of things, right? To address, it's not being used. It's not being used. Are you kidding me? If I pull up just one simple use case right now, the Republic of Palau launches US dollar backed Palau stablecoin in the next phase of collaboration with Ripple on what? On the XRP ledger. So the Republic of Palau is a whole ass entire country and sovereignty. And they've hired one company that uses the XRP ledger to develop their US dollar backed stablecoin. My guy, what's going on? How long have you been in crypto? Have you done your research? Like, this just puts a fire under me right now, right? Because I've kept away from the XRP conversation, at least because of my focus on the DeFi Kingdoms ecosystem. But man, if I get 12 hours of sleep and you come to Twitter and you talk a bunch of straight nonsense to me, I'm gonna address it. Now, I have no beef. I have no actual beef with Ratush. I've seen him come on alive before. Um, I see him on Twitter all the time. Like, it's no beef. But, you know, when you start some of these conversations and you make such definitive statements, somebody has to address it, and it's gonna be the trade room, right? Especially if you come talking a little smack about XRP. That's just generally what's gonna happen. So, kind of to wrap this up on the history of crypto, we are going to come and just learn a little bit. Okay, learn a little bit about XRP, and then we're gonna close off this history of crypto conversation. So provide a better alternative to Bitcoin. Bitcoin was created in the financial crisis, right? And humans who were hurt by keeping their assets, their wealth, their ledgers in this financial system that we have in the US capital markets, then started seeing that there was another option. And then they decided, hey, okay, we want to keep our wealth, we want to keep our ledgers on the Bitcoin ecosystem, and we've seen that flourish, right? So where does XRP come in here? Well, in 2011, three engineers, David Schwartz, Jed McCaleb, and Arthur Brito, began developing the XRP ledger. Fascinated by Bitcoin, they set out to create a better version that improved upon its limitations with the goal of creating a digital asset that was more sustainable but specifically for payments. So we spoke about the fact that one of Bitcoin's use cases, right? One of the problems that Bitcoin was supposed to solve was payments. But because of the mechanism, the hashing, and everything that was set behind Bitcoin, it became hard to utilize Bitcoin for payments because it was slow, right? Because of the block to block mechanism, it just takes time. And so, someone like David Schwartz, who was a developer within the Bitcoin ecosystem, as he was developing on Bitcoin, he saw that there could be another asset. Not that it's going to replace Bitcoin. I'm not a maxi like that. I believe that there is going to be a world, a multi chain world. You're going to have 10 to 15 to 20 blockchains that do a lot of good for not only the cryptocurrency space, but for the world. It's not just going to be a one blockchain ecosystem. It's going to be a multi-blockchain ecosystem. Will there be over 26,000 cryptocurrencies? No. 90 to 95% of uh, cryptos currencies are going to go to zero. That is what it is. Okay. 95% of cryptocurrencies are going to go to zero. And that's just what happens in cycles within cycles, which we're going to jump into next. But someone who was working on Bitcoin said, "Oh, this is great, but we can fix some things." And then they created the XRP Ledger. The XRP Ledger first launched in June of 2012. Shortly after, they were joined by Chris Larsen, and the group started the company Newcoin in September 2012, quickly renamed OpenCoin and now named Ripple. The XRP founders gifted 80 billion XRP, the platform's native currency, to the company. Ripple has since put the majority in escrow. So we're going to have a whole other conversation down the line about, XRP and more about the technology. But for now, we're going to talk about how this relates to Bitcoin, the entire history of crypto, and why I'm so absolutely bullish on XRP. Full disclosure, this is not financial advice. I was very bullish on Jewel for a reason. And a part of that is economic hardening theory, a part of that is a community, a part of that is a technology. And a part of that is the ascending asset class, which is that of digital assets slash cryptocurrency. And so the Ripple no longer has 80 billion XRP. They've actually gone down slowly but surely now to about less than 50% holding in XRP, right? It's being disseminated. It's getting more decentralized by the day. It is currently decentralized, and there's a separation of who Ripple is and what XRP is, and even what the XRP ledger is. And people have a hard time separating themselves from there. Just like how people have a hard time separating the Harmony hack that happened from the overall DeFi Kingdom's technology and overall DeFi Kingdom's ecosystem. People cannot separate the Harmony hack and what happened to Jewel. They just in their brain psychologically cannot separate those things. And so after 11, 12 years of existence, people cannot still separate Ripple the company, okay, from XRP the digital asset from the XRP ledger, which is the blockchain technology that uses the consensus algorithm for these transactions. And so, that's my overall thought on XRP. And when we talk about the use case, my guy said there was no use case. That's really what sent me crazy. No use case. First of all, we just talked about the project with Palau, an entire nation. Okay, an entire nation that's hired one of many companies that use the XRP ledger to do what? To develop their US dollar backed digital stable coin. Are you serious? So what are the other use cases? Infrastructure, right? Why has Bitcoin become what it's become? It is because of Bitcoin's infrastructure. Bitcoin has spent the last 13 years expanding its web of infrastructure development, places, rails that are in to help Bitcoin function. And so what you have to understand is the XRP ledger, okay, you're not seeing prices move like crazy, but what you've seen is development. Just like how the price of Jewel wasn't flying like crazy, but what did we see? We saw 2 years of development. Now, if 2 years of development can do this, can 7x Jewel price after the market realized, oh my gosh, there's so much development happening in this ecosystem. What happens to XRP after legal clarity, the only digital asset in the United States of America, the number one capital markets in the world to have legal clarity? What happens when we finish that saga and people realize that the XRP ledger has spun a web of rails of infrastructure around the entire globe and is ready at a snap of a moment to integrate with a ton of companies, a ton of nations, a ton of financial technologies, a ton of things that it is ready to seep into. You can talk about Solana all you want. You can talk about other ecosystems all you want. All they're rising up in price. No other ecosystem. Let me not say no other, because I just spoke about not speaking in definitiveness. There aren't a lot of ecosystems. Ethereum is one of them, but I have my own bias against Ethereum that are ready to be implemented in other ecosystems within the world. Right now, crypto is a nice little bubble. What happens when the U.S. Government gives clarity and allows crypto to flourish, including the only digital asset in the United States that has legal clarity? Not even Bitcoin has legal clarity. The infrastructure is set. Developer tools are set. We just talked about GitHub and the developers that are there doing their thing. Interoperability, which is the ability for Web3 or to connect to the internet, right? For what's happening in crypto to connect, for things to move flawlessly. Wallet, we just talked about the 2009 financial crisis and why people were okay with moving some of their assets to the Bitcoin ledger because of some of the uncertainty. There are NFTs in the XRP ledger. Exchanges. Not only are exchanges working with Ripple to develop better financial rails for them and their clients, we've seen exchanges through the last bull market into this bear market be lying to their customers. Go to exchanges, close out. The XRP ledger has the ability to create sustainability within the cryptocurrency ecosystem. You can't look at me and tell me that there is sustainability and scalability within crypto right now. There is not. Okay. We need sustainability. We need some sort of a flow. And in order to do that, we need liquidity. And so the XRP ledger is being used by Ripple to do things like the liquidity hub. All right. So if you have the XRP ledger doing about 700, $800 million in transactions, what happens when these exchanges, more and more exchanges, connect with the XRP ledger using the Ripple technology? And there's more liquidity, more volume. One of the things that I speak about is volume precedes price. Volume precedes price. And so there's gaming on the XRP ledger, security, right? One of the things that Bitcoin is very well known for is security. You can't beat Bitcoin security. But in the last 11 to 12 years that XRP ledger has been here, it hasn't gone down, it hasn't been hacked, it hasn't been infiltrated. And then guess what? Payments, right? The one thing that Bitcoin was made for that it's not able to do, the XRP ledger is able to do very easily, swiftly, and efficiently. There are some exchanges that do remittances, right? Which means money being sent from one country to another, Mexico to the US, US to Africa, US to China. Those are called remittances. Remittances is right now the global remittance volume. I think it's like in the billions, right? It might be like 500 billion, something of that nature. The XRP ledger partakes in that flow of money, where some exchanges, a total between Mexico and the US, like 10% of the remittances that happen between certain exchanges happen through the XRP ledger. CBDC, sustainably custody, right? The XRP ledger is a part of custody, which Coinbase delves in custody. So there's just so much happening in this ecosystem, that if you're in this XRP ecosystem and you know your time horizon, you're not really worried about price. You're not right now. And if you are worried about price, you probably don't belong in holding this asset, because it sleeps for 95 to 98% of the time and then goes absolutely ballistic for 4 or 2% of the time. But this is real use case. This is what we're looking at, right? And so that's a little bit of what the Twitter beef was about. We're closing off this history, and all we are saying within this is that don't sleep on the stuff that's been here. Everyone wants to go looking for the new flashy thing. Everyone wanted to go look at Luna and the new flashy thing. People swore to me that Luna market cap was going to go past the XRP market cap. Right now, Solana just passed XRP. People are like, oh, Solana's better than XRP. There are cycles within cycles within cycles. And that's what we're going to jump into next. But finishing off with the history of crypto, the history of crypto is that it's a new asset class. It's been here. It launched off during the 2008 and 9 financial crisis. More and more humans are starting to see that they can keep their ledgers, their values on another ledger, and that's okay. They're seeing the returns that come from here, and then they're seeing that there are other things available in the cryptocurrency market, and that's why you usually see Bitcoin rise, and then you see that money flow into other assets, whether it's Ethereum, whether it's XRP. Some of these top things in crypto have real use cases, especially the ones that have been here for a while. Everybody can go and get all excited about the new things, but if you've been doing your history, whether it's new, whether it's old, if it has a real use case, you have no worries, right? So very similar to how I feel when we're talking about the crypto history, how I feel about DeFi Kingdoms and what it's doing and its real use cases and its real development, right? And it's important for me to lay out to you guys, what I see in the XRP ecosystem. And with a little bit of a beef that kicked off today, it gave me an opportunity to break some of these things down to you. But I can break down, XRP and overall the cryptocurrency ecosystem for 10, 12 hours if I want to, right? I hope that I didn't spend too much time on this and I didn't hit you guys with this much. But yes, we do have Red Room Media here saying the takeaway is do your own research. That's a fact. Do your own research, man. You know what I'm saying? I can hit you guys with research all day, every day, but do your own research, and it's important. And when you speak about something, have some facts, right? Have some damn facts behind what you're saying, right? Back it up somehow, unless you're just engagement farming. Shout out to the spread god just stopping, just sending some love. Yep, all love, man. This guy's one of the best traders I've ever seen, hands down. Okay, hands down. One of the best traders I've ever seen. Period. I wish he was more into crypto, but that's okay, right? Maybe I'll link back up with him and push him to get back into crypto. So yeah, cycles within cycles, right? And so people talk about, hey, XRP isn't moving. Um, you know, it's never gonna move. And the thing I wanted to talk about today a little bit was cycle within cycles, right? And so This graph that we have here is just it shows the curvature of cycles, and this is how you get the ups and downs in the cryptocurrency market, right? Nothing ever goes up in a straight line. And so when we look at the charts, we look at things similar to this, right? And it just repeats itself and repeats itself and repeats itself. Now, within a cycle, right, when we have cycles within cycles, you can have something if it doesn't have a good use case, if it doesn't have volume. If you open up a Blockbuster store right now, what kind of cycle are you going to go through? If you open up a Blockbuster business right now, your cycle is going to look just like a straight down curve because there's not demand, there's not volume, and you don't have the ability to go through healthy ups and downs. But what does a healthy growth cycle look like, right? You have these smaller waves, right, which is a short term cycle. Over here, if we're talking about GDP, you can see short term debt cycle 5 to 8 years. So we're just going to compare this chart to what we have in crypto. With the cryptocurrency ecosystem, you have the Bitcoin cycle, which is every 4 years, where the Bitcoin halving happens, where the hash rate gets cut in half, right? The ability for these miners to solve these equations to get Bitcoin gets cut in half. And so these short term cycles happen within a 5 to 8 year cycle in general, but we talk about the cryptocurrency ecosystem. It happens every 4 years, right? And so that's what we have coming up with Bitcoin in April, and we've been seeing this, right? We've been seeing this overall, and it's heading up. But within those shorter cycles, you have consumers consume produce, right? So we're consuming Bitcoin, buying Bitcoin, and we've seen Bitcoin rise. But then you have this downtrend within the cycle, right? Where you have a drop in maybe price, a drop in maybe value, but you have a lot of productivity and a lot of growth happening. And that eventually gets reflected within the price action or the value action, right? And that's how you have these up and downs. You have smaller cycles and then you have much larger cycles. Now, the smaller cycles are 5 to 8 years in traditional GDP growth, it's 4 years in Bitcoin. The long cycle, right? The long cycle is normally over here. It says long term debt cycle is 5 to 100 years, but really it's like 15 to 100 years, right? 15 to 100 years for some of these long cycles to play out. And so that's just an overall graph to help you guys understand cycles within cycles. And again, if you're talking cycles within cycles, we also have to understand the psychology of what happens within these cycles, right? And again, we're going to head over to the charts, right? But today is a little bit different. Today, we are storytelling. So if you have cycles within cycles, 5 to 8 years, or with cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, 4 years, and then you have the larger cycles, 15 to 30 to 100 years. What is the psychology that happens that also represents those cycles? And when we're talking cryptocurrency or any market that has humans buying and selling, you start off with disbelief. Oh my God, why does this thing even exist? Then you have hope, right? You get hope when you get some positive price action, but nobody kind of really knows what's going on. It's just a little bit of hope from those who are already involved within that ecosystem, right? We can even use cars as an example, right? People were using horses for a long time, and the horse market, they went through their belief, they went through the hope. The horse market was in optimism. No, the horse market was in euphoria when that was the only thing to get around. That was the only way to farm. And then the combustion engine uh started and cars started being made, and people were like, "Oh, this thing will never go anywhere." You're talking about mechanical machine cars. Who's gonna want to sit in there? Horses, I can feed them. I know they work, and Guess what happened? Cars took over, right? So you go through disbelief, you go through hope, you go through optimism. Then after optimism, you usually get a correction, and then you get massive value flowing into belief. You get thrill, and then you get euphoria. And within this optimism, belief, thrill, and euphoria phase, that's where you get something called parabolic price action. Parabolic price action. And we'll talk about that when we look at Bitcoin. But once you start getting that parabolic price action, you've hit euphoria. You're at your highest financial risk, and then you start going into complacency, where that euphoria goes down in the correction and bounces right back up, and people are like, "Yeah, this is gonna last forever." And then you go to anxiety, where you start to realize, "Oh, this is what's happening." Denial, capitulation, panic, and then straight depression before you then repeat that cycle back into disbelief, hope, optimism. And that is if you have a healthy psychology of the market where you continue to get value coming in. You continue to do what? You continue to get productivity and growth even within those down periods. So that's the concept of cycles within cycles. And it's important to understand that, right? It's important to understand that because we need to understand that in order to see, okay, now we know the history. Then we get some understanding of cycles within cycles, right? And so what is the Bitcoin halving and how does it work? I explained earlier the Bitcoin halving is one of the most pivotal events in Bitcoin blockchain, when the reward from mining gets cut in half. Since 2020, the network participants validating subtractions have been awarded 6.5 bitcoins for each block successfully mined. The next halving is expected to occur in early to mid 2024, when the block reward will fall to 3.12. Over time, the impact of each halving will diminish as the block reward approaches one Satoshi. So again, every 4 years, that's the cycle. The Bitcoin hash rate gets cut in half. A lot more competition for those miners who are being rewarded these Bitcoins for completing these algorithms. And so that's why things are trending very bullish for Bitcoin. That's the repeating, rinse and repeat, along with the Bitcoin halving coming up. That's why things are moving as aggressive as they are. And when we talk about cycles within cycles, every 4 years leading up to the halving, we see more traffic, we see more flow, and that's where you get the aggressive price action, or what we spoke about just now. That's where you get that parabolic movement as we get towards the halving. That's where you leave the disbelief, you leave the hope. A lot of the disbelief area was the disbelief area was the Sam Bankman Fried and FTX when that whole saga went about. We were definitely in disbelief. Between depression and disbelief is where we were. And as the Bitcoin halving is approaching, as we see this news of the ETF, we're leaving this disbelief, hope, optimism. I think we're actually in this optimism phase where we could be making our way to disbelief. There's a possible correction that we may be looking to, but we're preparing for this parabolic movement here. And when you start getting this parabolic movement, it's not an indicator to actually buy more. It's an indicator that the top is coming. And so, in comparison to Jewel, when we were looking at Jewel, um, you know, I, the first movement, we started to get that within that 700% move, we started to get optimism, we started to get belief, we started to get thrill. And around this thrill area is where I knew to sell some Jewel, not all Jewel. But the statement that I made was that this is practice. this is practice because it's going to be hard at the top of the bull market to sell within this thrill and euphoria area. You'll never have the best timing, but if you can understand what this feels like, what a parabolic move feels like, and this euphoria phase, you can possibly sell around a good spot. Fight the psychology of the market and not be the ones who are in this denial panic area because you think something is going to go up forever. And so, you know, that's the cycles within cycles. That's the history of the cryptocurrency market. I hope I was able to bring some, you know, value into these conversations and what we have going on. And that's why we are a macro based channel, because you have to look at the bigger picture of what's going on in order to understand what is actually happening and how to prepare yourself, right? We have Stick saying, "Who is beefing with you? Do I need to do I need to wreck them?" No, Sticks, no, Stick. I mean, it's not real beef. It's not real beef, you know. It's just, a Twitter user that went a little bit back and forth with me. Um, and came out and just said XRP was trash. And I got 12 hours of sleep. So, I was willing to have that conversation. I was willing to chat, with him. Um, and and overall, just dig into why he was saying what he was saying. But it just turned out to be not a lot of basis behind what he was saying. But this is where the fake beef was Sticks. He just came out of nowhere and said XRP was trash, and so we had to have an overall conversation, and it actually led right into the thesis of the stream that I have here about about how the cryptocurrency market started and what that all has to do with. And Twitter is all about engagement for me. I mean, yeah, somewhat. That's part of what happens in Twitter. We have Dags in the building. I'm like 50 minutes away from home. Don't know if I'm gonna make it. Don't know if you're gonna make it. What's in time for your stream? Oh my gosh, Dags, what's happening here, man? Look, Sticks is over here laughing at him. Dags, even if you come on late, you know what I'm saying? We'll still hop on with you. You know what I'm saying? We'll still hop on with you. So yeah, Sticks, that's a bit of an update on what we were looking at there. We spoke about the cryptocurrency space, the history of it, how that came out of the financial crisis. We spoke about cycles within cycles, and we speak about macro versus micro, right? That's what we do on the trade room, and a little bit of Twitter beef. It's not beef. Ratush, I invite you on. You can come. We can chat. It's no beef at all, right? And so, with that being said, we're gonna hop into the charts. We're gonna take a look at what's been going on, right? Sentiment was very, very high, or has been high over the last few weeks with some of this price action from Bitcoin, and we're starting to see some corrections happen and things move, and so we're gonna take a look, right? And so again, Bitcoin started post the 2009 financial crisis. When we talk about cycles within cycles, we can clearly see this uprise, this cycle turn down, a uprise again, a cycle turn down, a uprise again, a cycle turn down. And now we're working on our uprise. And we can see that this is every 4 years, right? Every 4 years leading into the Bitcoin halving, where prices move up. We have been tracking Bitcoin's price action since this last cycle, right? The last up cycle, we've been tracking the fact that one of the rules we're following is that the new cycle does not correct below the old cycle. And for the most recent cycle, this body of the previous candle wick was a good support, even though the all-time high was about 20,000 for that previous cycle. We've been following this Bitcoin channel for quite some time, right? And we drew out our projections for where we see Bitcoin going, right? This channel that Bitcoin has been following, we've been tracking, And it's so funny that we drew this projection of a 57% run, 140-day move for Bitcoin. As soon as we stated that, we got a deviation, but we did not veer away from this blue area that we've drawn here. Right now, we are, how far along are we into that projection? Well, we are, let me line this up. We are 134 days, 48% into that. I would say that's a pretty successful midterm trade. Like, come on. If in August we projected a 57% move for Bitcoin over 157 days, and we are 134 days, 48% in, that's not too shabby, right? Not too shabby. We can walk away right now if we were doing that actually with Bitcoin, but this is only a projection. I don't own any Bitcoin. We spoke about the fact that within this 57% move, this is the F around and find out zone in the yellow area because of all this clog and congestion there. But we said that if Bitcoin could work its way through this area, it can confirm an official bull market. Now, since entering this F around and find out zone, we've had an impulse off of the bottom of that zone, which was beautiful to see. We saw rejection at the halfway mark of this channel, which we were also anticipating. But we're seeing a consolidation within this yellow area. And really, truly, and simply, I do not mind, or we do not mind, if Bitcoin just trades around this area until it makes its next move. That's simply what it is. So even if we don't finish off the rest of this move here, which what do we have left, right? We have 15 days left and 6.3% left within this move. Not too shabby. If we're off by 6% in 15 days, I, I don't mind at all. But what that means is that we don't mind if Bitcoin ranges, right? Comes back down to test this $42,000 area. I really think and don't expect this yellow area here. But again, even if it does correct further, this is the general range, even at 39, that we don't expect Bitcoin to go below. Bitcoin can hang around this yellow area and then make its way out of here. But there's two green areas here. I think that this is an area where once we expected our correction here, we expect the Bitcoin to kind of just hang around this area until it decides to make its move out of here. When we look at the shorter time frame, we have a few things that we're looking at here. We're looking at for Bitcoin. Uh, this RSI here has been bouncing off and just continuing to ascend up, right? RSI is something that we track, relative strength index. It tells us the buying rate of the market. And we're seeing the RSI normally tends and needs to cool off, but as soon as it gets in recent time to the trend line of this RSI, we get a nice impulse. And so we could see something like this happening where we do continue this correction phase, and then we get a nice strong bounce impulse here to get at least a test of this $46,000 range. But what does that mean? That means that Bitcoin could possibly correct another 3.4%. But even so, it can connect. It can correct a little bit even further than that. Where don't be surprised if we get a correction that takes us another 5% to 41,000, and worst case scenario, another 8% to 40,000, based upon this RSI still trending its way down to this trend line here. But all in all, this corrective time period not only allows the altcoins, alternative coins, to run in price, but it also allows dollar cost averaging. That's our overall thought process. But with the Bitcoin halving coming in April of 2024, which is only about 4 months away, what is the overall and broader picture, even though we are expecting a correction? Well, We're looking at all-time high areas. We're looking at a test of that $65,000 area. But we're also looking at this top of this wick at $69,000. Once we are able to leave this area, this F around and find out zone area, which, hey, we've had 4 consecutive months of green candles. I would not be surprised to have January be a very shady, kind of clogged up area before we make our final move up. But if we look at this monthly chart, which every candle is a month, we have a lot of room still on the RSI to do what we have to do. We see RSI go up as high as 91. And right now, RSI only sits at 63. So a lot of room left for Bitcoin to run. An expectation of Bitcoin to have a correction, but really and truly make its way out of this F around and find out zone at 46 and to come and test the top of this previous all time high. And from where we are currently, the top of this all time high here looks like a 47% move from our current area. So looking good. I think best case scenario for Bitcoin is 92,000. And then, man, if things just go absolutely bonkers and berserkers, a $216,000 Bitcoin could happen. But we're not jumping the gun on that. We need to see Bitcoin make its way out of this F around and find out zone. And once it does that, we'll start tracking the test of this all time high zone. Now, jumping over to XRP really quickly because we have XRP as one of the things that we're tracking. You know, XRP, we've been following this chart forever. We have a projection of $13, 13.66 for XRP. XRP currently sits at 61 cents. This Fibonacci area shows us our movements. All-time high here at 333 or 340, depending on what chart you're looking at. From where we are currently, we sit about 454% away from our all-time highs. I fully expect XRP to go test its all-time high, so that's a decent percentage to be looking at. The next area for me for XRP is not only to test this 88-cent area, but to get to $1.33 really swiftly after this corrective period that we're looking at. Where can this corrective period possibly go? This corrective period can possibly go as bad as 48 cents, but really and truly, I do not expect this correction to go below. Let me get this drawn out here, below 51 to 55 cents. I'd be very surprised to see XRP drop below 51 to 55 cents. So we'll move on from there. And we'll look at AVAX. AVAX has been doing some amazing, incredible things. And when we look at AVAX, we have 3 months of amazing price action, currently sitting at $47. That is above our 618 area to the 786 Fibonacci retracement area. From our lows, that has been a high of a 480% move for AVAX, and we currently sit at 450% move for AVAX. We anticipated a correction at the $40 area. There was a small correction and a much stronger impulse. I do think that there's still a chance that AVAX corrects back down to $40, even back down to as low as $35. But the RSI here, similar to Bitcoin on the monthly, is still only at a 61. AVAX RSI within the previous bull market went as high as 84. So a lot of room still to run for AVAX. This full one area at $59 is a very contentious area where we're pretty close to that, and I expect a lot of volatility around that area. The all-time high for AVAX sits at $1.50. And where are we from there at our current state? We are about 204% from that $1.50 area for AVAX. We start testing that all-time high area. My goodness, that spells a lot of bullishness for Jewel. And when we talk about cycles within cycles, right? We talked about the history of the cryptocurrency market. We talked about cycles within cycles. Where the trade room normally stands is we go Bitcoin, then we go AVAX, then we go Jewel, then we go everything else that has everything else that comes with the DeFi Kingdoms ecosystem, because those are the cycles, right? In the cryptocurrency market, we have the early movers, your Bitcoin, your Solana, and those early movers. We have the mid movers, your ADA, Cardano, your Ethereums, and then we had the late movers, your XRP and your other assets. So if you're sitting there talking about, oh, XRP hasn't moved yet, and you're chasing green candles, well, you may be chasing the early movers, you may be chasing the mid movers. And if you're chasing green candles and jumping from one thing to the next, you will miss the late movers. But this is why it's important to understand cycles within cycles. This is why it's important to understand um, the mid movers, early movers, and late movers. And this is why it's important to understand your time horizon, how long you're willing to sit in any particular investment. No one wanted to sit in AVAX when it started this downwards price action. No one was talking too bullishly about AVAX when it was down over 2 years and 94%. Right. And so it's important to understand you had to hold for 2 years to get what you're getting. Continue to, let me see if my mic is, what's going on, Mike? You have to continue to hold on to this asset, understanding what the history of the cryptocurrency market and cycles within cycles. And so that's what we're looking at AVAX. We're gonna do a little granular look into AVAX right now. And quite honestly, I'm pretty bearish on AVAX at the current moment. Because what we're seeing here on the 4-hour chart is some bearish divergence where RSI continues to go down, but price action continues to go up. And what can you normally expect from some sort of bearish divergence? A pretty nasty correction, right? You know, it's about a 17% correction back to $40. Would not be surprised to see that with the correction that we are expecting. We did say that for these chart analysis, we're going to look at some other uh, cryptocurrency assets before we dive into Jewel. It's about 20 minutes before the jewelers. I think DAGs is also a little bit late. Um, oh, oh man. So DAGs canceled. Okay, so no jewelers. No jewelers. So I can sit here and continue to chart if I want to. Hey. I mean, I'm not happy the jewelers aren't coming on. But if the jewelers aren't coming on, then yo, we're chilling. We're holding it down. You know, we're sipping a little bit. You know, it's a macro Saturday, right? So yeah, we are going to look at Injective and Soul really quickly. And Injective and Soul are gonna give us a view on just what's been happening outside of what we track all the time. And I should already have Injective here. So Injective is very interesting and it's been making a lot of good moves. And I mean, this is crazy, right? Injective doesn't have a ton of history on it because it launched in 2020. Um, and I mean, this is amazing, right? From the lows, all right. Within the bear market, Injective went down to as low as 14 cents. This bottom wick is crazy. And from the lows to the highs, it's up 28,000%. All right. Recently just broke its all-time high. And so when you talk about the cryptocurrency market and you talk about, hey, are we in a bull market? Hey, are we in a bear market? You can see from other assets that are making all-time highs that the answer to that question could be that we are in a bull market, right? And even if not from the lows here, from January of just this year, from just this year, Injective is up 3,200%. That's crazy. And the pattern that we're seeing here is pretty positive price action for Injective moving forward. We can also look at Solana, right? And Solana is a layer one, very similar to AVAX, right? And Solana has had incredible movements, even though it's had a lot of backlash from the rest of the market. Between Solana, the Sound earphones, Solana ecosystem, they have cell phones. Solana ecosystem has NFTs. They have so much going on. And the technology is pretty cool, even though, during some bull and bear markets, it tends to crash. It hasn't gone down in a while, right? And Solana continues to make new local highs. From the bottom, Solana is up 1,296%. It's testing this sluggish area. I quite honestly am expecting a coming correction for Solana, whether it makes its way to that 136 and corrects down, or it doesn't have enough gas to make it to 136. This RSI is incredibly high here for Solana on the weekly. So this is nice to see. This is very bullish. Would I be buying Solana right now? Not with a 10-foot pole. This consolidation area was a good area to possibly buy Solana. Between that $8 range and that $25 range. But now that it's ejected out of this area, wouldn't touch Solana with a 10-foot pole. But it speaks really well to the other layer one, which is AVAX, and where that could be going and testing its all-time high areas as well. So at the end nearing the end of the stream, you guys can tell me if there are any other assets that you would like to look at. Um, but we're gonna hop right into the DeFi Kingdoms ecosystem and take a look at Joel. And see what's going on there. Before we do that, we're gonna hop into the chats and look at some of the comments here. Again, uh, public service announcement. Public service announcement. The jewelers have canceled. Mega is sick and Dags is in traffic. Okay. So there will be no jeweler stream after this one. Public service announcement. A little disappointing, but it means that the trade room can go over time a little bit. We have Red Room saying we will be there, Dags. Yeah, Fortunately, we won't. Unfortunately, we won't because they canceled. But shout out to them. They are one of the most consistent streamers in the ecosystem. So, as we dive into the DeFi Kingdoms ecosystem, everything that we've covered is based on economic hardening theory, not only within the DeFi Kingdoms ecosystem, but outside of the DeFi Kingdoms ecosystem. The economic hardening with Bitcoin since the 2009 financial crisis has been amazing. The economic hardening with crypto and having to get through these cycles and the bad actors get washed away. We continue to see the bad actors get washed away within the cryptocurrency ecosystem. And that's overall good for the ecosystem, right? And so let's dive into Jewel, what's going on with Jewel and what we're anticipating. We've been tracking this Jewel price action for a while now. The 75-cent area has been a highly contested area. We had this crash. We have our inverse head and shoulders. We had our bullish divergence that we saw before then. We even have an RSI here since the last impulse that went as high as 99. So why was the trade room selling 1,000 Joule at a time? Because I'm sitting there looking at the RSI like, oh my goodness. On the daily chart, the RSI went up as high as 99. You have to cool off. You have to cool off if the RSI goes up that high. And so we're experiencing a cool off right now. We spoke about the cup and handle that's forming here, right? And so the handle is the downtrend. The handle could follow this pattern here, which is a healthy pattern to exit this handle in order to complete this cup and handle here that we have. When we dig in a little bit more granularly, excuse me, we spoke about hey. We spoke about the fact that this handle is forming, and we're not just going to exit out of this handle handy dandy all of a sudden, right? We have the MACD still kind of in this bearish phase. But overall, if we're looking at RSI, we're almost back to this trend line that we've been tracking all the way since this bullish divergence that we saw here, right? And so the RSI is cooling off to come back and to touch this ascending line here. And so what this tells me is that there could be continued correction down here before we start to pop up out of here, at least on the daily, which every candle here is a day. And so that kind of makes sense, right? We have these pink markers here, which is where support and resistances are, right? So since this correction, we broke down through here, we found some support here at this 33-cent area. Worst case scenario for me was between this 29-cent area and between this 25-cent area. We see a very strong bounce on this 29-cent area. We see a run up, right? We see a run up of about 47% to about 49 cents. And then we see a current correction, or in the midst of a current correction that is down, that went as low as 19% and currently sits at 13%. But overall, a consolidation here is not a problem. Volume still is pretty low. So until we start to see a pickup in volume, I wouldn't really get bullish on Jewel. And like I was saying, when we dig in a little bit more granular on the 4-hour and we're watching this RSI here, RSI in a 4-hour after, being up very high is starting to get into this range where it's coiling up. And this is not bearish. What you see here in Jewel is a coiling up, right? This coiling up that's happening here is going to keep forming until it gets really tight, and then boom, some sort of escape velocity, as I like to call it. But this coiling up I like it. It's very good. And when we look at volume here when we look at volume here, let me just erase this. When we look at volume here, oh gosh, let me switch. On Jewel, we can see here that the volume is not really doing anything, but we had a lot of red sales here. But what we're having here is a few green buys, which is showing some buying in the market. We can also look a little bit more granular inside the actual buy and sell walls that are happening. But it's nothing but consolidation happening here. I'm not too worried about Jewel price action. We have our yellow line of a possible move to form the handle. This handle is pretty bullish. If we dare get Jewel between 25 and 29, best believe that we're going to scoop it up. But we could be forming our first few higher lows here within this coiling area. And it's really just a good time, not financial advice. If you are dollar cost averaging in, this correction may last some time before it exits out of here. So overall, that's what we're looking at Jewel in the granular sense. When we look at the bigger picture of Jewel and head over to the 3-day chart, we can see here again our cup and handle. We can see our RSI since our bullish divergence that we called out months ago, which turned into an inverse head and shoulder, which is a very powerful macro inverse head and shoulder where we went up 700%. We're going through this corrective phase here. And even when we look at the 3-day chart, look at this RSI, right? This RSI is still working its way to come back down to the mean area to bounce up out of here on the 3-day. When we look at the 1 week, the 1 week is the most beautiful thing I've seen on this Jewel chart where, yes, you have this doji forming here. It could lead to another week or two of this consolidation area, especially for the RSI, again, which is a little bit in the oversold area or overbought area, before we have things pick back up. I don't honestly expect this RSI on the weekly chart to go down as far because we look pretty bullish, but we're prepared for 25 cents, Joel, with the thought process that we're more likely not going to break the 29 cent Joel, because and even if we do, we're looking to utilize this area between 29 and 33 as a nice support bounce area. And we're starting to do that, right? We see here that this weekly candle, even though it went down to the 29 area, is showing some sort of bounce here. And the next few weeks, we need to see that continued bounce, higher lows, not only to form the cup and handle, but to confirm this area as support. Moving on from there, again, we're looking at a retest of 75 cents, 92 cents, $1.30, which is really when the juices get spicy. But if we can get back to the 75-cent area and find and use this as support, that opens up a lot of room for us to run. And really, the next contested area is between that $2.98 area and that $3.76 area. This area is going to be quite the show. Quite the show. And if there are individuals that don't have positions and are looking to get in, this is going to be a very dangerous area in the $2.98, the $3.76 area, where you're going to see some crazy price action up or down with Jewel. And we won't look any further than that, right? We do have a $5.18 projection here. But what is our focus now? Our focus now is to wrap up this cup and handle, to confirm that this 29.30 area can be a support area based upon the history, and completes the overall inverse head and shoulder and starts another pattern. That's what we're looking at for Jewel. Before we leave here today, I'm going to tell you guys my overall strategy with the bloater. All right, with the bloater, with Serendale 2.0. I'm gonna give you guys some of my alpha on my strategy with the bloater and Serendale 2.0. I have begun the accumulation of the bloater, the Serendale 2.0 bloater. We've been tracking this huge impulse from Zablota, which, from our lows, again, we've been tracking this for a while now. From our lows, our bloater went up a total of about 17,000%. That's absolutely wild. That's absolutely wild, right? But let's say more specifically from this impulse, which started December 2nd, bloater went up as high as 3,900%. Now, we expect about a 50% correction from these highs, right? It's just natural to have a 50% correction. We actually went as low as a 64% correction from the bloater. Very normal, especially if you're a meme coin, right? Meme coins tend to overextend. Right now, we sit at a 55% correction from the top, and I do expect the bloater to correct more. Okay, so what can we expect? Well, we could have this 0.0023 area as a strong support, but even much stronger support is this 0.001 area. Regardless of that, we did do some buying of the bloater. This formation here is very similar to what we're looking at with Jewel, where this is a possible cup, right? That's forming a handle here for us, right? And that's just the pattern that we're looking at. And escape velocity from a cup and handle is pretty powerful. Looking at the projections of where the bloater can go, we're looking at a 1.2 cent bloater. That's not the max upside, but that's the kind of upside that we need to see in order to confirm that the bloater is in some sort of bullish action. From the current place that we stand, that is a 300% move from the bloater. And then from there, we can draw out what we're looking at further from the bloater and what price action. But the fact that Serendale 2.0, you're able to have your heroes quest and get the bloater for somewhat free, minus the gas fee and other items that you pick up. That is why I have transitioned some of my heroes to Serendale 2.0 so that we can stack the bloater for free. right? As we watch some of these price action that happens here. So that's what we're looking at for the bloater. We're still expecting a bit of a correction after some very, very powerful price action. If we look at the bloater in a bigger time frame, let's hit a 3-day chart, kind of confirms more what we're looking at here, right? We're still looking at a correction from the bloater that can come as low as 0.0012. We could get a strong support at 0.0023, but we're due for a cool down of this RSI and a continued correction. That's just great for those looking at dollar cost average in. And really, that's my alpha, right? Why is that my alpha? Why is Serendale 2.0 somewhere that I am deciding to hang out? Well, you have Profession Quest where you can get this bloater, which from the lows has moved up 20,000%, right? 17 to 20,000%. That's the meme coin of the DeFi Kingdoms ecosystem. So earlier I said, hey, if you want to go buy a meme coin, go buy it. A lot of people are buying Solana meme coins right now, right? They're just farming Solana meme coins and aping into that. Meanwhile, we have an ecosystem here in DeFi Kingdoms that has at least 5 different things that can be meme coins. It's not just a bloater. We have a bunch of things that could be meme coins, and I fully expect us to have meme coin type price action. So when you look at Serendale 2.0, you have fishing, right? And with the fishing, you get the bloater, which has a 23% drop rate, right? You have Iron Scale, you have Lantern Eye, you have Red Gill, you have Silverfin, which Silverfin is actually a pretty rare fish. It has a 1% drop rate. And then you have Shimmer Skin that has an even less percent drop rate. So I'm getting into Serendale 2.0. I am picking up all of these items, but I am most bullish. Can I unhighlight this? Can we unhighlight this, please? I am most bullish on the bloater, which has a high drop rate. I am super bullish on Shimmer Skin, super bullish on Silverfin. And that's my overall strategy is to go into Serendale 2.0 using my fishers more primarily to stack up these items. And when we head over to Serendale 2.0, I have a botted account that's doing this for me, right? I don't have to sit here and I don't have to sit here and try to manually stack up the bloater. I mean, it's such hard, painstaking work to stack up the bloater. And so I have my bot assisting me in stacking up the bloater, and that is my overall strategy. But while I'm in Serendale 2.0, I'm also stacking up Swift Twistle, right? Swift Twistle is actually pretty slept on um, within the ecosystem, right? It's Swift Twistle has actually, in comparison to gold price, Swift Twistle has really risen up in price, and so that's my overall strategy is to be on Serendale 2.0, to be questing and having my heroes pick up a lot of these assets for free. And again, yeah, you're burning jewel in order to pick up these items, but it's still, even though the gas fees are high, it's still very profitable. Um, it's still very profitable, and I believe that a lot of traffic and a lot of volume is going to come back to Serendale 2.0. And that's kind of what we are preparing for, right? So if a lot of traffic is going to come to Serendale 2.0, what could we and what should we be tracking? We should be tracking the bloater. We should be tracking Swift Twistle. We should be tracking some of these lower drop rated items, and also picking them up for free. We also should be tracking the power token, right? The power token that is in Serendale 2.0. So not only am I stacking up the Blota, but I'm also stacking up Jade, right? Jade, similar to Crystal, has been in quite the bearish downturn over the last few months, all right, or even since its inception, because Jade was kind of launched near a bear market. So if you've been watching Jade, you've been seeing this overall just bearish downwards price action. Let me paint the picture for you. Jade has done nothing but go down since its inception, right? But you're recently having a change in the price action of Jade. What we're gonna do is, hey, that bullish divergence that we saw previously, do we see some of that within the Jade price action? The answer to that would be yes. Okay. If we look at RSI here and here, okay, it's very minute, right? But you have price action of Jade going down. Okay. Price action of Jade going down, RSI going up. And recently we had a very strong bounce from this bullish divergence where Jade actually went ballistic. Okay. We're having that cool off of Jade, and you see every candle was 3 days. We're having that cool off of Jade, but now that we've gotten this impulse, we can now look for what? We can now look for some bullish indicators, right? And I'm going to head over to the daily chart now. We can now look for some bullish indicators. We can now draw some metrics on Jade. And we are expecting an overall correction, right, within the cryptocurrency space in itself. So don't be surprised to see Jade possibly correct. Let me line this up here. Possibly correct back to what? Back to this range here. And guess what? It has already done that. Don't be surprised to see it back test, right? We get a double tap, which we call a double bottom, right? A double bottom. And Jade is currently under a penny, right? So if you're looking for something that you can get into, not financial advice, at a cheaper cost, that would be Jade. So what can we now draw for Jade? Well, what we can now draw for Jade is, let's say we're going to draw the high here, okay? And then we're gonna. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Let's take this off. I want to draw my own Fibonacci retracements here, not one that is assisted for me. We're gonna draw the high here over to the low here. What does that give us with Jade? Well, that gives us some metrics here to look at. That gives us a possible 4.8 cent Jade. All right, if we're following this bullish divergence here that we have for Jade, what does that give us in terms of percentage? That gives us in terms of percentage from the current area that we are. It gives us a 368% possible run from Jade. And that can confirm for us if Jade is in some sort of bullish price action. For me, what can confirm that Jade is in a bullish price action is for us to find to get above 1.54. Okay. If we can get above 1.54, right, I would sometimes even take this 1.38, but I want to be safe. If we can get above this 1.54, right, whatever we have to do, whether we correct a little bit further down, if we can get above this 1.54, right, touch this 168 at 2 cents, come back down to test this 1.54 and show some strong price action above it. That's it. That's it for me. Jade is in a bull market. Jade is showing positive price action. And that also looks like what? Again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That also then looks like a nice little cup and handle that is forming right now, right? To possibly get us out of this range. But even if it doesn't do that at that moment, we can still come back and officially test this 1.5 area to create a better looking cup and handle. But that's what we're looking at for Jade. So not only am I getting a bloater for free in Sarendale 2.0, I still have the ability to land, runes, things of that nature. But I also can now take some things like tears and turn them into Jade, or there's just so many options you can have in Sarendale 2.0 of how to maximize what you're doing there. But that is my alpha. that is my strategy. That is what I wanted to leave with you guys. There are many, 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 many strategies within this game, but that is one of them for me, right? So if we holla at the chat room, we have Sticks Intern saying that Swift Twistle is the shit. Yo, Swift Twistle is the shit, man. I started realizing Swift Twistle was the shit when it started costing more gold. It started costing more gold to get Swift Twistle, and I was like, holy schmoly, right? Um, who sleeps on Swift Thistle? I mean, hey, people are sleeping on Swift Thistle, man. They're not realizing that at the Alchemist, it's needed for a lot of things. Um, that funds my Clayton bot. Swift Thistle funds your Clayton bot. That's actually hilarious. That's actually hilarious. So, hey, you can go in there. You can grab Swift Thistle and you can either keep it or turn it into jade or turn it into gas for your botted account. So it's actually pretty bullish to hear that Sticks intern is already on Clayton botting his way through. I'm just now getting into Clayton and botting my way through and stacking my bloater as well as my Swift Twistle and other things. And we have Red Room Media saying, agreed. Jade is being slept on. Yes, Jade is being slept on. And we're going to continue to track Jade and other assets within the ecosystem, even through this correction, because corrections are a great time for you to buy the dip. And so, that's a lot of what I wanted to talk about today. We talked about the history of crypto, and we always do macro here to you always do macro here to have a better understanding of the micro, right? We talked about cycles within cycles. Right now, we have Bitcoin going through its cycle, the Bitcoin halving coming up, the 4-year cycles, and how a lot of bullishness comes within. We didn't even get a chance to talk about the mega cycle, right? Because Bitcoin has 4-year cycles, but Bitcoin also, there are cycles within cycles where, yes, 4 times 3 is a mega cycle for Bitcoin. So I have a strong belief that Bitcoin is going through its mega cycle. And things like XRP have yet to even start their mega cycle, right? So you have cycles within cycles. Yeah, every 4-year cycle, but then there's every 12-year cycle, right? And when we talk about cycles within cycles, the rendition of that was those bigger waves within what? Within those smaller waves. And we talked about macro versus micro. We talked about economic hardening theory and how that continues. We talked about a little bit of our Twitter beef, which is not beef at all. We talked about some of the trade rooms picks, which, if you want to talk about picks, I'd be here all day. And then we're going to take some chart requests from the chat. Guys, if you're here, thanks for being here. I know tonight you guys could be doing a lot of other things. Make sure to put a thumbs up if you haven't yet. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to put your alerts on as well. So we have Sir Worm saying bloaters and Swift T is keeping Serendale afloat. I would have to agree with that. Shout out to Sir Worm. Sticks Intern says bloaters, the dark horse heroes token of the year. Yes, bloaters are the dark horse. And we see the bloaters catching a lot of attention, and we're seeing entire ecosystems literally welcoming the bloater in and third party games being developed around the bloater. And so yeah, we're gonna hop into the chat room's request right now. Shout out to Skiller. I see Skiller has come in and has requested Mina. So we're gonna take a look at Mina, and we have Sticks saying Mina. I don't have. I'm just happy for Skills. Oh, happy for Skills. Skiller. Oh, I combined Avax Sticks. We did a whole breakdown of Avax, but we're gonna take a look at it again. Let me go ahead and pull up Mina here. Let's see if I can find this bad boy. We're gonna take Mina. Let's see. Yeah, it's Mina. Mina. Okay. I see a Mina USD pair here on Coinbase. We're gonna go ahead and share this tab. So Skiller, while I look at Mina, um, oh, sorry, Trade. I'm asking Skiller if Mina is on AVAX. Oh, okay. Okay. He said I was here for the good AVAX. She's yeah. So Sticks, we have questions for. I said Sticks. Skiller, we have questions for you. Especially pertaining to Mina. So I just pulled up the Mina chart. We're going to swim through this. There's a few things I like to do when I freshly pull up a chart. I like to start at the monthly because we always do macro. And over at the monthly, we can see that Mina launched April of 2022. Not a lot of history on Mina, but we have enough that we can take a nice look at what's going on. On the weekly chart, we see here that, overall, there's been a bit of a consolidation area here for Mina. We can see this triangular area. And this has been a consolidation area, right? And Mina is actually just beginning to escape from this area. Now, again, Sticks asked a good question. What blockchain is this on, right? Does it have its own blockchain? Is it on AVAX blockchain? But we see this consolidation area, right? Now, what can we infer? Well, just like Link and just like a lot of other things that we're consolidating, Mina looks to be escaping out of that consolidation area. So what do we do? Well, we want to see what the Fibonacci's tell us. And we're not gonna use the top of this, we're gonna use the bottom of this candlestick here. Why do you keep giving me this silly chart here? We're gonna use Fibonacci retracement. Okay, so we're gonna use the bottom of this wick here to the top of this wick to the bottom here, and we currently see that projection wise, without digging too far into this, there is a $3.19 projection. From the lows, Mina has already gone up 191%. The very top of this move is about 236%. From the lows all the way to the top here at the $3.19 projection, it's about an 800% move. But from where we are to the top of this projection is about a 211% move. I mean, this chart looks pretty good, right? You have this low that was created, but now you're having this strong price action move here. You do have RSI that's a little bit high here. But what tends to happen in crypto is that those high RSI moves, it tends to stay above this range here and just have continued price action here. You do have an all-time high here of about $3.70. So what we would do here is we would draw a horizontal line to the very top. And this is the all-time high, right? So even from the area that we are at right now to get to the all-time high, it's about another 264% move. And what we know in crypto is if you have enough momentum, you are actually going to escape out of the all-time high. And worst case scenario, you can triple, right? You can triple out of this. And so if we were to make our way to the all-time high with this projected move here, and we were to draw the all-time high to the low sticks, I'm sorry, Skiller, what are we possibly looking at in the most bullish action from Nina? We're looking at about $14 from the previous all-time high projection here. We're looking at not only a test of the four-time high, we're looking at $14.68. And from the lows, right? From the lows, that is about a 4,200% move. That's pretty good. But then also from the current state that we are in, Let me see if I can pull up this tool that I have here. From the current state that we are in, the current price action, that's about a 1,323% move. So this looks pretty good. Looks like a lot of consolidation that's now escaping. If I dig down to the more granular, we see that the RSI is pretty high here. So a cool down is to be expected. And this cool down, oops, this cool down here that we could be expecting here, um, it could lead us back to this area here at the 618. Okay, so if I was looking to get into this, which I am not, we could be looking at a test of the 618, which brings us from the top of a total of a 33% correction. But from our current state, it is a to the 618, it is a 25% correction. So I would say pretty strong price action here for Mina. It looks pretty good. I I I can't I can't deny it. It's a lot of consolidation, and now you're having a push out of that consolidation area, and two spots, right, where we have a $3 projection for a healthy price action and a $14 projection there. So what else do we have requested in the stream? So we have Sticks saying Mina protocol is its own blockchain. That's pretty sick. That's pretty sick. Zero knowledge. Oh, okay. ZK. Are you referring to ZK Sync? Um, if you're referring to ZK Sync, you can. Is it zero? Is the zero knowledge algorithm that it uses? If that's the case, then I mean that's even more bullish. That's pretty cool. Okay, wait. I'll actually buy that. Where did you Man, Sticks is ready to pull the trigger, man. Sticks is ready to pull the trigger. Yeah, for sure, Skiller. And I think Sticks, Skiller, you mentioned another asset that we tracked a while ago that was KDA, right? And when we tracked KDA, I mentioned that at least from my perspective, it looked pretty bullish, right? I don't remember what chart I used. So let me see if I can find the proper one that I used at the time. Was it the Binance one? Might oh was it the yes, it was the Binance one. Yes. So for KDA, when we were tracking it, we had the smaller Fibonacci retracement drawn on it, and we said for KDA, uh, it looked pretty good. It was coming out of consolidation period. I believe when we're looking at KDA, it was at 64 cents. And we said that we can easily see KDA going to $1.34, which it's shown very strong price action since we mentioned that. And overall, KDA, if it makes its projected move, is about a 7,600% move, but it had to get through this first round of movement, which brings it to about I believe, a $4 range. So glad to see some of what Skiller has been requesting for us to look at doing well. And you can't be involved in everything. Okay, you can't be involved in everything, but um, I love looking at different charts, even if I'm not involved. It tells me a lot of good things about what's happening overall in the cryptocurrency space. So, hey, it looks like no other suggestions for things to be tracked. And so we're coming towards the end of uh KDA is at 90-ish right now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me see. Let me confirm that it is. Yeah, right now it says 87. So it seems to be coming off a bit of a cool down after pumping like crazy. And I mean, and this looks like nothing, right? This looks like just I don't even think KDA has started. That's the scariest thing right here. I don't even think KDA has started. I mean, from the lows, you've had pretty bullish action here, but it looks pretty scary for KDA. In terms of its price action here. So So guys, thanks for coming through. Thanks for hanging out. It was really important for us to talk about the history of the cryptocurrency market. It was really important to talk about some of the conversations that happen some of the conversations that happen in the cryptocurrency market and why it's important to look at macro. Want to give a big shout out to DFK Helper. I know that Sticks mentioned that he currently has a botted account. I don't know if he uses DFK Helper, but when you're in this ecosystem and you start to get above the 100 hero range, um, it becomes very tedious to go questing and then to do this and then to do that. Now, that's not to say that the way the game is set up is not fun. It's fun, right? That's what got me in to go questing, to go and hit complete quest and then to see that your NFTs, your heroes are mining valuable items, right? Like we are miners. We're literally miners. We're farmers, but we're miners as well, right? So when you start getting above that 100 hero range, you need help. And whether you are setting up your own botting system, or you're using something like DFK Helper, which it's been a DFK Helper has been a godsend to the rest of the cryptocurrency ecosystem. So whether you are doing your own thing or using DFK Helper, uh, that's the alpha, right? That's the current alpha within the ecosystem, is to have a botting system so you can be in Crystal Vale, so you can be in Sarandel, and not feel overwhelmed with what's going on. You can have multiple heroes. You can go boar hunt and do your thing, instead of being kind of stuck, having to use the 30 minutes, the hour that you have to go ahead and quest. So big shout out to DFK Helper. Follow their Twitter. Okay. I use DFK Helper on one of my accounts, and I trust DFK Helper like no other. It's a bit of a process to get it done. If you have a Mac OS and you're looking to use DFK Helper, as you go through the process, I have a breakdown of how to use the encryption tool in order to encrypt your private keys, because that's a part of the process here. And you can go on there and check that out. If you're not using DFK Helper and you are someone who really wants to do some minor like coding, some minor application settings, if you want to play around with your terminal and you're not able to use DFK Helper, and you want to get a little bit more granular, holler at Affinity Lotus. Okay. You can find him on Twitter. You can find him on YouTube. He has some great videos on not only utilizing MetaMask and how to fix it, certain things that happen from Uncle Light. His YouTube has those videos, but he also has a lot of other videos on if you're looking to set up bots on your account. It has his strategy, the road to 1 million heroes. I mean, this guy is insane to be going towards 1 million heroes. But again, whether you want to set it up yourself, okay, or whether you want to utilize DFK Helper, which is a great, amazing tool, a godsend to the ecosystem. Once you start getting in and you start getting up in heroes, it is important to have these tools to help you. And these tools are a part of the economic hardening theory. So before we check out tonight, we're gonna check into Stick's intern. Oh, and Stick's confirmed he is using DFK Helper. All right, it's on his thumbnail, and we're gonna do a little bit of shilling, guys. We're gonna do a little bit of shilling, guys. Okay, if you are not currently following Stick's intern, make sure to go follow this man, I have confirmed, gets no sleep. Okay, but his battery still runs on 100. Make sure to go follow Sticks Intern. Um, I believe what did he just say to us? He said it's on my thumbnail. It's on your Twitter thumbnail. Let's see if we can find DFK Helper on Stick's thumbnail. I don't currently see it, but sometimes I my eyes play games on me. But go follow Sticks intern. He's always dropping a lot of fire on his Twitter, a lot of memes. If you want to see bloater memes, you can see it with Sticks intern here. Follow his not only his Twitter but his YouTube, where he does office hours, office hours as well. Let's see. I would say time consuming more than tedious. Yeah, it is time consuming. It is time consuming. I guess that's a better word for it. Uh, okay, so he's clarified that DFK Helper is on his YouTube videos. And it says right there in the pinned post. Oh, let's go see where that pinned post is. I can be a little bit visually dyslexic. Quite honestly, I can be a little bit visually dyslexic. So this is a pin post, right? Let's see what we have here in the pin post. I'm back with another strategy video for you this Christmas. This time I'm showing the priest prayer of might ability. I cannot wait for my priest to get to level 15. I think both of them are at level 13, but this prayer of might, jeez, man, this prayer of might is sick. And I've seen Sticks using it a lot in his streams. And so I can't wait for my priest to have attack ability, because sometimes we don't even need to go ahead and only heal, with our priest. So as a nice send off, we're gonna tap right into this. We're gonna tap into this as a nice send off here for our stream. Stick says bottom right of the thumbnail image at the beginning of the video. Well, Sticks, we're gonna hop right in. I'm actually gonna hop
What
right
I'm
in,
doing is I'm
and we're gonna show Sticks battle, right, using the prayer of what is it, the prayer of might as a nice
four of
send
them,
off.
33%
All right, let's see what's Sticks does.
attack with 4 basic attacks. All right, Merry Christmas weekend and welcome back for another Sticks intern strategy video. Today I'm showing off Prayer of Might with a warrior and a shapeshifter. Now, Prayer of Might is a very interesting little ability. What it does is it heals for a little bit and gives the target 33% increased attack for 1 turn, as you saw just there. I've just used it on my shapeshifter. So what we're going to see on his next turn is that he's been doing about 100 per hit. And now we're going to add 33% to that and see what happens. Boom, 158. Whoa, it's like a lot. It's like so much that they added to it. Holy wowza. Okay, game, I see you. That Prayer of Might could have some use. That weak heal maybe has some justification. Only lasts for 1 turn though, so that is one big downside of it. You really have to time it for when you're trying to get value out of it on that next turn. And so you'll see here what I'm doing is I'm setting up now my warrior with his basic attack combo on rapid onslaught. And since what Prayer of Might does is increase the basic attack, he's about to drop 4 of them, 33% attack with 4 basic attacks. That is what's going on right here. You see that? 33%, 4 basic attacks. So we're dropping that on the middle board. He's got the cleave. He hits for almost 400 damage spread across the 2 boards. Huge. That is huge. And quickly, my shapeshifter is going to finish this dude off. Priest is keeping him healthy. I think we're going to get a taunt here on the back boar right now. Bada bang. Kill the front baby boar. And you know what? At this point, we all know what's going to happen. Let's just see what this game looks like at 10x. Well, I tell you why win rate is a vanity metric. The only thing that matters right now is getting more loot and getting more XP. You know what caring a lot about your win rate does? It limits your desire to try for more loot and try for more XP. And that is why I have, from the very beginning, you can ask Skiller, not cared about win rate. So yeah, that's Prayer of Might. And that's my little exhortation about win rate, just to address it because it came up in Sergeant Filthy's stream last night. And what's this? What's this win get me right here? This victory. What does it achieve for me? It achieves another Void Shard. Baby.
Ooh, baby. Yeah, no, Sticks has been going crazy with his hunts. A lot of different things that he's been doing to be successful in his hunts. And Sticks is actually a part of what made me be like, holy schmoly, yo, these shapeshifters are gonna be massively wanted within the game and massively powerful. So, I took some of Sticks' internal strategies, took it into the boar hunt, and now I almost have 2 guaranteed wins in the boar hunts every single day with my 2 teams. I've been building up my shapeshifter to see how I can get in. I have some pretty powerful paladins, but this shapeshifter right here is, I mean, it's incredible what it's capable of doing. So great way to uh great way to end this here, with Sticks giving us a little bit of a Christmas present. Skiller says, I love this one just because he mentioned my name, of course. Sir Worm, baby. Yeah, yeah. Sticks is getting the wins out here. And then it was really good. No, this battle was really good. That Prayer of Might, man. I need my praise to get to that level ASAP so I can start dropping some hammer and some pain. All right, cool, guys. So this is it. This is the stream. All love. Shout out to the community. Bullish, bullish, bullish. We dealt with a little bit of beef today, but we served it on a platter. Always understand the history of crypto. Always understand that there are cycles within cycles. Always understand to do your own research. See you guys on the next stream. We will not be here New Year's, but we will be here that following week. Bullish out.